Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 3, Episode 2, Purpose in the Machine. I definitely loved the second episode for the season because not only do we get Simmons back, which was a pretty big surprise for me. I didn't expect it to happen just in this second episode, but we also get Ward building up Hydra. We get the new Von Strucker, Baron Von Strucker, which is pretty awesome because that's kind of how it actually plays out in the comics, where it basically just continues on through the fathers to the sons, and I thought that was kind of cool. It's like different origins, and of course, and stuff like that, but that was pretty sweet. I thought that was kind of a cool little concept. Very, of course, it's just literally the beginning of this guy getting into the world of Hydra and joining in under Ward, but I thought that was a cool concept. Ward has built up this following of people. He has the whole scene where he's just driving the car around and stuff, and it was confusing at first. I was like, what is up with all these people just standing still? I knew it had to be for some purpose, but it was still really weird. Like, they're in this giant random area wherever they were. Like, it was almost like just a packing warehouse. And he's just driving around and, flipping this thing, and it's just people at random pillars. I'm like, what is happening? So he does have a following. He has people that decided to put their lives on the line to show that they're willing to join Hydra, that they want to rebuild what had fallen apart, what S.H.I.E.L.D. basically destroyed. So it was really exciting. I'm pretty sure the logo is new. I think the head is slightly different. It's like a skinnier head or something like that. I believe it's a little different. If not, then it was just painted black and it looked totally different to me, I guess. But it looks a little bit different than normal. I don't think it has, like, even the curves and stuff, like how the tentacles like swirl up. It does. I don't think it has as many of those either, but it looked really cool. It was pretty sweet just to see Ward in an episode, because of course it's always fun, especially now that he's full villain and there's no this stuff between him and Sky or Daisy now. So it's just like he's pure villain. Like, he's pure villain. He lost the woman that he loved. We have Hunter going after him. We have May going after him as well now, which is actually kind of awesome. So the two of them are going to team up to go after Ward. I'm sure they're going to find out, like, holy crap, he has more people than we thought. Because he does already have, I mean, in that scene it would only look like maybe like 8 to 10 people. But that's still a couple of people. That's still a group of people. He has a Von Strucker, working with them. That could help for whatever little remnants of Hydra, the regular Hydra, is still out there. They might catch word of that, and he could kind of become an actual leader of Hydra, like the leader of this new Hydra. So it was great to finally get to see the inner workings of him rebuilding this great enemy to S.H.I.E.L.D, because he's just pure evil now. And it was fun. Like, the fight scenes he had were pretty cool, so that was nice. The boat scene was really cool, but it got really funny with the last guy who actually punched him, and he totally had a moment like, you made me bleed my own blood, and then he just pulled out a gun and shot him, and it was just really funny. I was like, that's definitely what that scene was meant to be about, where, because he got punched before that happened, but this guy punched him in his nose, and it actually bled. So it was just really funny. I was like, that was totally a you made me bleed my own blood moment. And then he was just like, you know what? And he just shoots the guy. So definitely a great scene. I loved the action in that for sure. And then that scene, that specific moment, just made it kind of funny to me as well. But it was cool. It was nice to see that, this startup. And then we get the end of the episode where Von Strucker is basically, their plan is to screw around and somewhat infiltrate Hydra. I don't know if they're going to try to go through like the tech route and use the psychiatrist, because of course I don't remember his name. I don't know if they're going to try to like use some files or on his computer or something like that, try to get info on May, which would really lead nowhere since she kind of left S.H.I.E.L.D, but just trying to get some information, some new information on where S.H.I.E.L.D bases are located, or what new tech they have, anything like that. They have a plan set in motion by the end of this episode, and it should be pretty interesting to see if they use the Doc as bait, or if they're just using him and if he doesn't even know or find out and they just do it behind the scenes. But it should be cool. Like, they did it real quick. It was this one episode, like, all right, I got you. You've proven that you're worth joining Hydra again, or having in Hydra. So let's get to Mission A. So I don't know what it's going to be 100%, but I'm definitely excited for it. And obviously, they're going after S.H.I.E.L.D, so, ultimately, it doesn't matter how they do it, it's going to be intense by the time we get, like, this crazy battle all over again. But I'm looking forward to that for sure, because that's going to be exciting, especially with the stuff coming up with Captain America Civil War. That's going to take place during this season. It won't be until next year, of course, during the second half, but it should be pretty cool. I believe it comes out before the season goes off. I could be wrong, though. I'm pretty sure it comes out in May. Actually, that would be after. I think it comes out in March, I guess. I don't remember, but I'm pretty sure it happens during this season, but it won't be until, like, towards the very end of it, so maybe, like, the last probably 5 or 6 episodes this season will be affected by Civil War. But until then, we still have a new Hydra coming in to attack S.H.I.E.L.D. We still have our Inhumans, which is pretty awesome. There wasn't too much focus on that because this episode, definitely the main focus was on the monolith and getting Simmons back, which, like I said, I was surprised that it happened, but it was pretty cool that it did. We got the Asgardian back. I kind of forgot he was in the show. I don't remember what his purpose was, but I'm pretty sure he was in the show before. I recognize the actor, and I'm trying to remember if it was from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. last season or if it was just from a bunch of other things I've seen him in. So I believe that he was in the show before. I'm pretty sure he was. But it was cool getting to see him again, and they just had their silly moments with him and him basically just trying to survive on Earth and not be outed as an Asgardian and stuff like that. We get the monolith actually acting up, and we find this old place that, of course, ties into the flashback we got early on, where they totally just let that guy walk in the room. It's like, well, you got the white stone. We'll see you soon or whatever. And so, of course, he gets sucked in, and it's done. And something that really surprised me, aside from the fact that they got Simmons back to begin with, which, like I said, shocked me that it actually happened in this episode. I thought we were going to see more of the planet she was on and, like, what was chasing her and stuff like that, which, since they did it this way, I know we're going to get it in flashbacks, because there's no way it's going to be like, yeah, it was monsters, and we never get to see any flashbacks. She was there for, I believe this, it was like 3 months or something crazy like that. So she survived. I hope they answer the question how she survived food-wise, because I know they talk about, like, the sand is the same, and obviously she could breathe there, so they could probably do it the easy way where it was, like, water, which you still need more than just water to survive, so I'm hoping we get some answers. It's so minor to nitpick, but I am very curious. She was on a planet, who knows how far away and what galaxy it was in, for 3 months. I'm curious as to how she was eating food and how she was surviving on more than just, possibly just water. So I think it's a valid question. I guess it's not that much of a nitpick when someone's sent to a totally different planet. Gonna have some questions, so I'm sure we'll get all that stuff through flashbacks. Maybe in the next episode. The next one definitely has a focus on Lincoln, so it might be like the side story of what happened with Gemma when she was on this other planet. But it was cool that they saved her. They had a really good moment. Fitz, of course, just needing to do this, and he just jumps in once they figure out, like, Sky can just do the vibrations herself instead of using the machine, which broke. He's like, all right, keep it steady, keep it going as long as you can, and he just jumps in, and it's like, holy crap, he just launched right into it because he went to save the woman he loved. And I thought for sure that they were going to do it where it didn't work and he got pulled back and she'd be trapped in there, but they would know at least, and he'd just have to find her all over again. But it was pretty cool. I was excited to see that happened. Although, admittedly, if the monolith blew up and he didn't grab her, that would have been even more interesting, because of course they wouldn't have taken her out of the series, so it would have just been like, how the heck do they replicate the monolith? That's kind of what I was thinking. Like, they blew it up, and if she's not in there, this is going to be pretty amazing to see how they actually solve this problem. But fortunately, I guess, as far as the actual characters, it's much better this way. For us as viewers, it would have been really cool to see how they figured that out. But he does end up saving her. She comes back. We have the little scene at the end where she, like, jumps out of her bed, or, jumps up at least, and she has, like, this little tiny sharp stick. So she's still in that mindset where she has to defend herself, and I really can't wait to see what they show us. Like, I don't know if it's going to be something that I feel like it's going to be something that's already in the Marvel Universe, just because why not do that? Why make something new? So I'm looking forward to see what they, show us from this other planet. I don't know if it'll be significant in any way outside of just this is what happened to Simmons, but I'm still excited for it. It was very cool. It was nice to see that they were able to save her. I kind of just like that they even solved all this, this big issue. They finally had their answer, and it kind of came from Fitz just sort of breaking down a little bit. It was like, okay, once he got that little proof of sand, that's what it was, and it was like, great, like we'll be able to figure this out, and they do it in this one episode. So I loved that. We got to see May, of course, in this episode, which was another thing I was excited for because we didn't have May or Ward in the premiere. So we got to see her as well, and she kind of protects her father, and we find out by the end when Hunter goes to see her that the real reason she's kind of staying is because she's worried that her father's a target of Ward because he's mad at everybody, especially May, and May, Bobby, and Hunter the most. So it was kind of cool that that was her actual reason for staying, because it seemed like she kind of just quit and just gave up just because. But Hunter, and like less than a paragraph of talking, was like, oh, so you really, the real reason you stayed is because you think it was Ward and you want to protect your father, which makes perfect sense. But instead of just staying behind and protecting him and pretending that you're just living a normal life and stuff, let's go get Ward, and then he won't be an issue at all, which works for her, and that was pretty cool. And also, I'm pretty sure her father was fairly adamant about, like, okay, you need to do what you gotta do, so get the heck out of here. So, I enjoyed this episode. I thought it was a pretty cool second one. I'm excited to see what they do with Lincoln. They're probably going to end up convincing him to finally come in, which I'm all for that because I like Lincoln as a character. But he's going to be on the run. They had, basically because he was working at the hospital, they know who he is and where he lives and stuff. So there's this whole thing about them, the Inhumans, being betrayed by the people they trust. Very curious about that, but definitely love this episode. Good to see Fitzsimmons as a thing again. Who knows if there'll be a relationship thing or if it's just going to go right back to the normal Fitzsimmons relationship, which I just don't think it can anymore. Like, after, even during season 2, and Fitz actually tried, and it failed, unfortunately, for him, but at this point, I just don't know. I don't see it. I just don't think it could work like that, or it's just a normal relationship. It could, and that would really suck for Fitz, because, of course, obviously he loves her, but I don't know. Like, just after what they've both been through, surviving in very different ways, I just feel like they finally have a certain connection that would make it work. It would definitely change the dynamic between these two characters, but their dynamic was drastically changed in the last season alone. So I'm also very excited to see how that plays out too. But I want to know what you guys thought about this episode, so please comment below. Let me know your favorite parts, your least favorite parts. And my big question for this one is, what do you guys think about Ward recreating Hydra? Like, does it matter to you? Is it interesting because it's Hydra, or is it interesting because it's Ward? Because for me, it's solely Ward. Like, Hydra can be whatever the heck is going to be, just like AIM can. Honestly, they're just two big organizations. It's really like the individual leaders that make it entertaining. Just like in the last season, like, Hydra's just going to be Hydra no matter what, and I couldn't care less, honestly. It's like, it's a little different because Hydra stems from Nazis, so a little bit crazier than AIM, which is just nerds who with weapons, honestly. But either way, it's still just two big evil organizations, and it's like, no big deal. For me, though, it's seeing Ward as this character, and also the fact that he's starting up. Like, if we got to see Hydra from the very beginning and how it started, even then it wouldn't be that interesting because it stemmed from, like, the Nazis, and it was like, oh, well, they basically just leaped off of this already insane regime, and they just made something crazy but about mystical stuff. But seeing Ward have to do it now, where he's seriously rebuilding something that's existed for decades and it's completely broken apart, that's very interesting to me. It's like just a totally new dynamic where it's this old organization but a brand new style from the ground up with a new person who really, he's just evil. It's like I was a part of it, but not really, because he only followed after the guy that basically taught him how to be tough. And it just makes it way more entertaining. Like, it could have been AIM as well, and it still would have been awesome just to see Ward as the leader, because we know Ward as a character. So, for me, that's why I like it, but I want to know why you guys do, so please, or if you do at all, because you guys might be so tired of Hydra that you don't care if it is Ward or not. It might have wished he named it something else, I don't know. But either way, I want to know what you guys think, so please comment below, let me know, and thanks for watching.